Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Madness here on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Golem F. Michael Fletcher alongside my good buddy Anthony Florio, and we are just about ready to go, and we're going to start it off tonight. Um, well, we were initially going to start it with the big breaking news about what was going on with WWE. However, in light of some now reporting about what happened last night and now into today, we're going to table that talk for now. Um, Apparently, the rumors are not true. So basically, we were taken by a ride by a stooge who didn't really do his homework, just threw something out there into the ether, and everybody basically bought it and had everybody all upset. I took it with a pinch of salt. Wrestling Forums Derek Ferrero took it with a pinch of salt. And we both, myself and Derek, kind of were questioning the validity and the authenticity of the report. And lo and behold, myself and Ferrero were correct in not releasing any of the information. And as of today, we can both say we stand tall and say that we were ahead of the curve instead of everybody else freaking out and losing their minds. Um, the report initially came out that the Saudi Arabia investment group, investment fund, I should say, had purchased WWE and that they were taking the company private. Well, WWE came out and vehemently denied the reports. And then every company that initially reported it that this was accurate literally backtracked their stories one by one, including Sean Ross Sapp, who is not the first to report it, but another internet blogger was the first to report it. I found it on Reddit and I instantly reported to the guys, but I told them to take this with a grain of salt. That even I had questions about the report. For one, they never released the figures about how much the sale was worth. And normally that's the first thing you look for in any negotiation is how much was it worth, what was their evaluation, and what were they, why would they, how much did that entity buy out the company for and at what price. We never got figures from that. Number two, the suddenness of the move even called that into question because a takeover or something like this would take months, literally 6 to up to a year, because not only because it's a public owned company, you got to go through a whole bunch of things: U.S. government, SEC. There's so many different things that they would have had to do in order for that sale to go through. So those were the two things that came out instantly that made me almost say, about the whole thing. Now, did this deliberately give a bad look to WWE? Yes, without a doubt. It made it look horrible. However, I can confirm that the purchase has not happened. However, there is a sale going on. And yes, the Saudis are in the conversation. They are one of the groups that is indeed trying to purchase WWE. So we can't dismiss them, They are in the mix. However, there are other companies that are in the mix. Like I reported on Monday and has been confirmed by multiple sources that Disney and Fox and NBC are all in the mix. They were. And they still are in the mix to land the WWE. The Saudi Arabia group is also in it, but there are also 3 other competitors that also want in that never were announced. First, 3 others. The Time Warner Group, which owns and currently has television rights to AEW, they are in it. Netflix are in it. And Amazon Prime is in it as well. Jeff Bezos, after acquiring the NFL's Thursday night football, has also voiced his chances at getting WWE. And one other secret organization, Apple TV, is also trying to get into the fray. So with that, we'll table it for now, and we will wait to see what actually transpires and actually does happen in the very near future. And I will guarantee you, when any news does break that is legitimate, you will hear it here on Talkin' Wrestling TXN. We are not a company that goes on hearsay. We are not a company that thrives on fake news or bullshit. And we will not report anything fake on the internet like a Reddit or any other garbage news site or any garbage talking heads you're going to hear from. If you're going to hear any news, it's going to be us. It is 100% legitimate, verified by actual legit sources and nothing else. Just like how Wrestling Form and Derek Ferrera, they double check, triple check, quadruple check their sources. And that's why even I will give credit where credit's due to Mr. Ferrera for, for his professionalism. That's the standard that Derek has stood for. That is the professionalism that we stand for on this show, and we will not be saddled by any garbage, by any internet geek wanting to make 15 minutes of fame on this Ethernet known as the World Wide Web. Now that I got my little rant out of the way, let's get into what we really are here for. Wrestling. And tonight and last night was NXT, and we will do that right now. And we started it off, NXT, with, let me pull it up. All right. It was New Year's Evil. And the first thing that we had was Tony D'Angelo. He went up against Donovan Dijakovic, or what they call him, Hard Justice Dijak. When it was all said and done, winner of the bout was Dijak, winning in 10 minutes and 4 seconds. All right, this was a good match. Solid opener. About 3 enjoyed it.
Yeah, Meth, you're cutting in and out. I can hardly hear you, but for that last couple of moments anyway. But I'm going to give this about 3 to 3.25 stars for my rating on this. It was a fine match, but got a little too ridiculous with its telegraphed story. Tony D'Angelo was far too distracted by Stacks, leading to one of the silliest finishes possible for the bout. The right guy won, and he looked good throughout. Dijak is a special talent and deserves the biggest spotlight WWE can provide him after wasting his talents for 2 years. He and Wes Lee should have a good encounter soon. And you notice Lee watched this match closely on commentary, welcoming either challenger for his next North American title defense. Dijak attacked Stacks at ringside, but got laid out for it by the Don. Dijak then handcuffed Lorenzo to keep him out of the action. While still handcuffed, Stacks told D'Angelo that he would take the shot for D'Angelo, but the Don told him he had to stay healthy for his family and threw him down. So that's really all there was to say on that. So a solid match here. This was 3 to 3.25. So that's the best I can give it. So with that being said, MF set me up for the next match.
Well, I'm not going to give you this one. It was pretty deadly, and they went up against Brian Williams and Jimmy Jackson, and the match ended in 30 seconds. So I'm not giving you that one.
No.
Or was this a tag team turmoil fight? Oh, it's tag team turmoil. That's why. All right. So what we had was pretty deadly. They went up against Brian Williams and Jimmy Jackson. So pretty deadly advance. Then we had pretty deadly. They went up against Idris Analfi and Malik Blade, and Pretty Deadly won that match. Then it had Pretty Deadly versus Gallus, Mark Coffey and Wolfgang. Gallus actually advanced through that one. And actually, that's the match. So the winners of the matchup is Gallus. So Gallus wins it. Anthony, it's yours.
All right. It was another smartly booked match. Pretty Deadly tried to escape the gauntlet, but they were completely outmatched by Gallus after a tough fight with Idris Anafi and Malik Blade. Gallus had been gone just long enough that it was easy to forget about them. That made their return all the better. Mark Coffey and Wolfgang will put on a great show with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, even if they don't win. Pretty Deadly were still preparing for the gauntlet match when the New Day told them the Creed brothers' indisure did not happen and they were up next. Blade nearly got the win off a frog splash on the Prince, who had just taken a superplex from Anafi, almost like a throwback to Power and Glory's Powerplex. It kind of had that a little bit. And then Gallus and the New Day stared each other down after the match. I honestly don't know how to rate all this. The first thing obviously is a dud, so we're not even gonna get into that. The other two, I would have to say maybe 3.25 or so stars for Anafi and Blade, and then Gallus took care of them. I probably would give that about 2.5 to 3. I mean, like I said, these are always tough to rate. They very much are. So it's hard to rate it, but that's the best I can give it. And if I'm wrong on that, I don't care. So it's fine. It's all right. So, but hey, new challengers, and that's what we were talking about. The minute New Day won the tag team titles last month at Deadline, we talked about how, New Day could benefit from a run in NXT going up against all these young teams. I mean, we already saw it with Briggs and Jensen, and now we're going to see it with Gallus, a tag team that I know good old MF Michael Fletcher is beyond high on. So this is going to be like an MF special almost. So definitely somewhere down the road. We don't know when, but I could see it maybe at Vengeance Day, or unless they want to do it sooner. I don't know. We'll see. But what a moment for Gallus. So Gallus and New Day for those tag titles, that's got banger potential. It does. And if you put that in front of that live crowd in Charlotte, that's got potential.
It does.
So there's not much for me to say on this. So dud for the first fight, 3.25 for the second, and about 2.5 to 3. But like I said, these are not easy to rate at all. Not easy. Never have been, never will be. So nothing more to say on this. So MF, your boys, Gallus, they're back, and I know I'm sure that must have made you very happy to see those boys back.
Oh yeah, I'm very happy that Gallus won it. That's definitely a big win for them. Pretty cool, to say the very least. Yeah, and like you said, it's always tough to try to rate these matches. I would probably say this is easily maybe about 2.5 to 3. Just for the body of work, just for how everything played out. Yeah, no doubt about it. Um, so it was all right for what it was worth. So then after that, we did have, well, believe it or not, in the middle of the show, they gave us the big one. The NXT title on the line. Braun Breaker versus Grayson Waller. Braun Breaker winning the match in 12 minutes and 22 seconds via countout. And this was the most weirdest ending you're ever going to have in a match. So Grayson Waller gets up on the second rope, walks the rope, and I guess he was about to do a maneuver. The rope gave way and he fell right out of the ring. And that's how the match ends. Grayson tries to get back up, loses his footing, down he goes again, and the match ends like that. All right. The match was actually getting good. This was actually going to be a fight of the night candidate until the ending. I do not like the finish. I did not like the finish. If they're trying to protect Grayson and Braun here, all right, I get it. I just would have liked to see some kind of resolution on that. However, Shawn Michaels did make a big announcement. We are getting a rematch, and Anthony will allude to it in a minute because it's a big rematch. They're going to do this even bigger. Charlotte, get ready because you benefit from this. This was about a 3-star fight. Going into it, like I said, it was a good match. It was going to be even a great match until the ending happened, and that's where the punishment has to come in. I felt bad that this was how the match ended, but it is what it is. I'm good with it. I'm cool with it. I don't have any issue. But Anthony Florio, this had the makings of being a great match until the rope gave way. That middle rope just broke out of nowhere. And I don't know how you felt about it, but when I saw that, I'm like, well, that's an interesting way to end a match. I didn't even think that was even possible.
Disappointing. That's the word. Just disappointing ending to that. I'm sorry, I can't put a rating on this. I got to give this an NA. I have to. I mean, Breaker and Waller have chemistry to spare, and they have a rematch to prove it after this weird and lame finish. Clearly, WWE wanted to keep this rivalry going beyond the first clash, but the way this was handled did not suit the story of the rivalry. What matters most to explain the rematch to come is that these two have much more in them. And then at the end of the night, it was right at the end of the show when Shawn Michaels called both Braun Breaker and Grayson Waller into his office, and Shawn made the announcement that at Vengeance Day, February the 4th, at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina, there will be a rematch. Braun Breaker versus Grayson Waller for the NXT Championship inside the confines of a 15-foot high steel temper cage. Oh, yeah. Luckily, a steel cage bout should guarantee the ropes stay secure. Waller slapped Breaker in the face and faced the wrath of the champion for his effort. Waller sent Breaker hard into the middle turnbuckle, ripping it clean off. Officials had to come in to fix it quickly. Both men traded forearms in the center of the ring, and the heel won with a clothesline to the back of the neck. And then Breaker hit a bulldog to set up his finish. But Waller ducked outside, ran in, and turned his cutter into a running knee for a big near fall. And like I said, at the end of the show, it was announced there would be a steel cage rematch at NXT Vengeance Day on February 4th. So I got a feeling that match will be better, and I am more than certain that we're going to have a decisive winner in this one, and let's hope for the best. So we'll see what happens. But Breakker and Waller in a steel temper cage. Let's see what happens. So it's going to have to be an NA for me on this one. So with that, MF, let's move on.
All right. With that said, we do indeed move on, and the next thing that we did have here, a lot of promo stuff after that. Then we had Hank Walker against Charlie Dempsey, and it was Charlie Dempsey, 4 minutes and 34 seconds. This is actually William Regal's kid. Yeah, William Regal's son, Charlie Dempsey, getting a big win, Anthony. So, what's your? Do you want to give a quick thought here?
With each match, Hank Walker has come more into his own with his character and also his in-ring style. He has added more technical offense to his repertoire. It was also a good showcase for Charlie Dempsey, who showed some incredible flexibility. Gulak looked impressed with Dempsey afterward, which could be a bad sign for Walker. Either way, this story is helping some young stars grow quickly. I'm willing to give this 2.5 stars for the effort. And Walker trapped Dempsey in a cross arm breaker and locked it in, but Dempsey escaped and turned it into his own submission. So that was the only real highlight for me, but it was a nice showcase, especially for Dempsey. And I'm sure Dempsey's got to be thrilled to have his father with him down there. William Regal, of course, we all know, is back in WWE. You know, after he was in AEW for about a year and change, and recently left to go back to WWE, and so he could be with he mainly wanted to go back to be with his son.
And that's working as an international talent agent. So he's going to be working with. I do believe that means is that I would expect that once the NXT Europe or the NXT UK, or no, not NXT UK, NXT Europe, when that actually starts up very soon, maybe Regal might be an integral part of that show. Maybe he might be what Shawn Michaels is to NXT USA.
Hey, we all remember how masterful a job he did when he was the authority figure.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from War Games, I mean, you know, other than War Games, when he would, you know, hype the crowd by screaming and yelling War Games, I mean, he always made some great matches and he always had some great moments. And unfortunately, as part of this deal, for at least this next year, he cannot appear on screen.
No.
Bit of a gag order, if you will.
Yeah.
But I do believe once the calendar turns to 2024, then he can probably make all the on-screen appearances he wants. So he's going to be behind the scenes for this year. But at least, you know, with his father by his side here, I think that could benefit Charlie Dempsey exponentially. And if all goes well, who knows? Maybe he could end up being a potential breakout star. I mean,
yeah.
So maybe he could be to the men's division what Roxanne Perez was to the women's division when we had our big year in review show a few weeks back, when we unanimously voted for Roxanne Perez as our breakout star of 2022. This young man should certainly be in the running for a breakout star of 2023 if all goes well. So we're gonna keep
one other guy I would probably say, and I believe who also could be a breakout star in 2023 from AEW, Action Andretti.
Agreed.
You have to think that he might be, you know, with what's been happening with him, and we'll get into him because we got AEW here tonight as well.
But yes, AEW Dynamite, big huge show tonight. Pay-per-view. It felt like a pay-per-view almost tonight.
Yeah. So
we'll get into that in just a little bit. But first, the business at hand. Like I said, 2.5 stars. As we always like to say here, when it comes to matches like these, fun little sprint. That's all there was, in a nice showcase. And keep your eye on Charlie Dempsey, friends. I mean, because if all goes well, and especially with his dad by his side, I'm telling you, this young, when we get to our next year in review show at the end of this year, there's a real possibility, maybe a puncher's chance, that this young man, Charlie Dempsey, could end up being uttered out of us, possibly as one of, if not all, of our breakout star of this year. So keep an eye on him. So that's a strong recommendation from not just myself, but MF as well. So 2.5, fun little sprint. MF, keep your eye out for Regal Jr.
Yep, no doubt. Solid 2.5. Really nothing more to add. Next up, we had Anthony. Julius Creed going up one-on-one against Don't Hinder the Jinder. Jinder Mahal is in NXT. Joining with Sangha, and when it was all said and done, Jinder Mahal wins the match in 9 minutes and 52 seconds. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, like that's like a demotion. How could they do that to Jinder Mahal? Trust me, Jinder in NXT is actually going to be a great thing. Rebuilding his character and giving him an opportunity where, relatively speaking, he was not getting any airtime on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. Give him a chance on NXT. Once again, Triple H strikes again with the brilliance that he is. That's why he's the lead of creative in WWE, ladies and gentlemen. Anthony Florio, I give it to you. This is another fun little sprint. It was 9 minutes and 52 seconds, so this was about maybe 2.5 to 3. But Jinder in NXT, I'm for it. I'm thumbs up. It's yours.
Hey, maybe this could, improve for him. I mean, because everybody knows I've never been high on him. I mean, it was a great moment when he became the WWE champion, even though it came at the expense of MF's guy Randy Orton. But I still, to this day, consider him the worst WWE champion of all time. And I'm never going to change my mind about that, unless, God forbid, somebody ends up being worse than him, which I don't see. But anyways, the Creed brother looked great in this match, pushing Mahal to work from behind. It was the best. I'll admit this. It was the best match from the modern-day Maharaja in the last year. But a lot of that is down to just how much Creed worked this match as a top star. While he lost, it was another showcase of why Julius Creed is a future main event star in WWE. He and Brutus Creed may lose this feud with Indus, but they will likely earn a spot on the main roster with it. And you notice Julius, he ran into the ring to start this fight and kept the heat on Mahal, and he ran up the ropes to superplex the modern-day Maharaja. And Julius's mouth began bleeding during the bout, and Mahal leaned in before hitting a series of elbows to the cheek. So, I'll even go as far as to call this the sleeper fight of the night, because anything involving Jinder Mahal, I'm usually dreading it. But this ended up being better than I thought it would be. So, sleeper fight of the night for me, solid 3 stars. That's the best I can do for this. So, there isn't much more for me to add. So, MF, Jinder Mahal, or as Kurt Angle once infamously botched years ago, Jinder Mahal, running gag between me and Bullock during our chats there. But I'll admit, it's the best the modern day Maharajas looked. I've seen him look, like I said, in probably like a year or so.
All right, and we leads us to the main event, the 20 women over the top rope battle royale, where the winner would receive a future NXT women's title match against our reigning champion, Roxanne Perez. When it was all said and done, the winner of the bout in 13 minutes and 17 seconds, we actually had co-winners in this match. Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. Final 2 of the match were them two. They were going at it. they were both at the top of the rope, and they both went for a move, hitting each other at the same time. They both went tumbling out of the ring, onto the floor, and the referees had a problem. Who went out first? So the referees started huddling around. They went through replay. Now, at first, it kind of looked, and I'm gonna say it. When they were looking at the replay, it looked like Gigi went out first over JC. However, it was not really conclusive. It was inconclusive. Therefore, you can't really call it. So the referee decided we're going to make them both the winners. So Gigi and JC both get the title shot. It's a triple threat for Roxanne Perez. Oof. This is going to be a tough title fight for her, Anthony Florio, as I give it to you. But honestly, it could have gone either way. JC or Gigi could have gotten it, but the referees said, it was too close to call. We're giving it to them both.
And a lot of people were hoping that they would have done something similar to this back at the 1994 Royal Rumble when Lex Luger and Bret Hart won. So, but they did not do that. But then again, triple threat matches weren't really the norm back then. But nowadays it is. But anyways, I'm going to say this was the fight of the night here. I'm going to give this about 3.5 stars for the effort. Even though, I'll be honest with you, just like with turmoil matches or gauntlet matches, these are tough to rate as well. But this one, I'll be honest, there were some surprisingly well-booked moments in this Battle Royal that set the stage for fresh rivalries. Valkyria and Sol Ruka got an impressive spotlight that could mean their immediate future is bright. Yes, the finish was a mess. Of all the ways Toxic Attraction could have earned the simultaneous win, it made no sense for them to turn on each other so easily. Despite this, a triple threat match between Roxanne Perez, Gigi Dolan, and JC Jane is a smart call for Vengeance Day. The three are proven talents who will make the most of the moment. Valkyria quickly eliminated Cora Jade in a shocking result, as Cora was the first one out. She tried to cheap shot Valkyria later, but again went over the top rope. Sol Ruka nearly got eliminated, but walked on her hands back into the ring, a la Kofi Kingston in the Royal Rumble matches from years back. Nikita Lyons eliminated Elektra Lopez, and when Wendy Chu saved herself from elimination with a pillow, Lopez pulled it away to finish the elimination. And then Roxanne Perez came out afterward to stare down both of her challengers. So, 3.5 stars for this. This was the fight of the night for me. I mean, was it the greatest Battle Royal? No, not really. I'll be honest. But, they made the most of it. And like I said, there was some well-booked moments in this match. And none of us expected Cora to be the first one out. Matter of fact, I thought Cora was going to actually win the thing and, rekindle the Cora-Roxanne feud. But maybe they want to save that for a later date. Maybe the NXT prior to WrestleMania. That maybe they want to save it for that show. Stand and Deliver in April. But, we're going to have to wait and find out. But 3.5 stars for this. So MF, turned out there was, we thought there was a major, I'm trying to figure out that little quote from years back. A major malfunction of the junction here. Did we have two winners? Yes, we had two winners. Gigi Dolan and JC Jane, almost like a Lex Luger and Bret Hart situation. So, there was a major malfunction in the junction, but in this case, MF, we had two winners. Not one, but two winners. Triple threat.
Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people were too mad about it either. I think it was one of those, it was a shocking situation. I don't think we can say that it was a bad situation. I thought they did a really good job with it. So, no, fine for what it was worth. Overall review, this was a pretty good NXT. 7 out of 10. I'm not gonna say much more than that. So, Anthony, I give it to you.
My apologies. I agree. 7 out of 10 is the rating for this. It wasn't a takeover caliber show by any means, because there was still they did throw a little silliness in there, but we did have some solid matches. We had one match ended in a disappointing finish, and it definitely set the stage for Vengeance Day. It's starting to take shape, and we'll wait and see what happens. So 7 out of 10, and now MF, we move on to, even though it was only the second show of the year, what felt like a pay-per-view quality edition of AEW Dynamite Live from the legendary Great Western Forum, Inglewood, California, the old home of the Lakers and the Kings.
Yeah, now known as the Kia Forum in Inglewood, California. So yeah, this is the legendary Forum, and we started it off with Adam Hangman Page and Jon Moxley. The Hangman wins the match in 14 minutes and 15 seconds. Great opener, solid fight, stiff match, to say the very least. This was easily 3 to 3.5 stars for me. The body of work was excellent. It was up and down. It was hard hitting. It's what you expected in a match. You noticed that Moxley was going for the head, going after Hangman because of the previous concussions in the past, and he tried to do it again. He hit him with that very same lariat that knocked out Hangman before, but he able to survive it, and it looked like he ended up getting hurt this time around after the buckshot lariat. Basically, it was Moxley that looked like he was in bad shape after the match was over. So did he just suffer a concussion on his own right? So we'll see. Because we had Doc Samson and Paul Turner checking on Moxley after the match was over. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Tony special right here, MF, because you know how much I love both of these guys, and I love the fire and intensity of both of these guys, and this was my match right here, and I'm not at all surprised that they ended up delivering a match worthy of Fight of the Night honors. If you wanted to make an argument for it, you certainly can. 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star is my rating for this. This was a hellish fight between two guys who do not like each other, with some jaw-dropping physicality. The last lariat appeared to have broken Moxley's nose, adding to the theme of the match. Hangman needed the win. After way too long, he earned a signature victory over the hottest star in professional wrestling in 2022. Where this takes him moving forward remains to be seen. But Hangman can finally begin to rehabilitate a character that was hurt by the creative provided him a year ago. The energy Jon Moxley brings to the arena, or any arena, makes him a perfect candidate to kick off any show. The combatants threw fists from the opening bell, putting over their dislike for each other. Moxley delivered rights, then stomps to the head of Page, as the referee warned Hangman to protect himself or he would stop the match. Page uncorked a series of hard-hitting lariats. Moxley taunted the pro Hangman fans with a double middle finger salute, and the competitors engaged in a late match slap fight that gave way to the finish. Fantastic match. 3.5, 3 3/4 of a star. You could certainly make an argument for 4 if you wanted to. That's how great this match was. It was definitely up there as a potential fight of the night, no doubt about that. So, wow, just an amazing match, and biggest win for Hangman probably in I want to say this is his biggest win in a year, because I can't remember the last time Hangman won a match as high profile as this one. It probably was when he finally knocked off Bryan Danielson a little over a year ago on that very first TBS Dynamite, in a rematch of their legendary hour-long title match from Winter is Coming 21. So, but yeah, biggest win for Hangman in like a year. So let's see if this does anything for him. Hopefully he'll get back into that main event scene soon enough. So not much more to say on this. 3.5, 3 3/4, teetering on 4. Fantastic opener. So, I mean, exactly the way I liked it. Be a man fight, no doubt about it. And between two of my personal favorites. Love both of these guys. And I'll be honest, MF, in the immortal words of Jesse Ventura, I got to call this a bit of an upset. I didn't think the Hangman could take Moxley, but he did.
He did. Yeah, no doubt. Nothing more to say there. So then we had our next little the first promo segment of the night. Welcome back to AEW, Adam Cole, baby.
Oh, yeah.
He is back, and he talked about the long road that he had to get back. He said he got good news and bad news. Good news, just the support, the love that he got from AEW, and that he is officially back. And that's bad news for the boys in the back in the locker room area, because this is a new and improved Adam Cole, and that he is looking for gold, that he is looking to be the top guy in AEW now. So the rumors of him going to WWE, greatly exaggerated, not happening anytime soon, folks. He is committed to AEW. He is definitely all elite, and based off the reaction from the crowd in LA, or Inglewood, I should say, they are pleased with this news. So Adam Cole is back, and Florio, can't wait to see what he brings to the ring when he gets back in the ring very soon.
Absolutely. You could make an argument that this was the segment of the night here. It's not often we say this, but Adam Cole was a total babyface here, thanking the fans and playing up the gratitude he has for them and the wrestling business. It is the right call for him, given his popularity from the first time he stepped through the curtain back at All Out 2021 and the reaction he received following his return from a lengthy absence. With a heel world heavyweight champion in MJF and a major heel faction in the Jericho Appreciation Society, there are plenty of options for opponents for a babyface Adam Cole. And then when the opportunity arises, maybe possibly slowly turn him back heel. Cole is adaptive, damn good in the ring, and perpetually over. Now Tony Khan has a second chance to book him as the featured high-profile main event attraction he is, rather than the secondary figure he was prior to his departure. He went on to say, I would say, I don't know what's happening to me. And then he said, I have given you nothing for 6 months, but you were still there for me. For that, I am eternally grateful. Thank you. And then, of course, what generated the biggest pop of all, when he said, the bad news, it's not for me. The bad news is for the AEW locker room, because Adam Cole is back. I'm not going anywhere. MF, if that's not business picking up, I don't know what is. So business has indeed picked up. Adam Cole, baby, back in AEW. This is huge for them. Another big name. And MF, with him as a babyface now, I mean, think of all those possibilities, especially with MJF, heel world champion, Jericho Appreciation Society. Of course, you also got the Firm running around and a lot of other good heels for him to work with. So I'm definitely intrigued by it. I mean, we all know how damn good he is as a heel. We all know that. He is damn good as a heel. Yeah. You know that a little bit more than I do because you followed him in Ring of Honor and other spots. But as great as he is as a heel, I mean, I'm definitely willing to give this babyface thing a chance. And who knows? Maybe it could do wonders for him. I don't know. We'll see. But very intriguing to say the least. So segment of the night worthy, no question about it. Great to see him back. I mean, hey, a nice surprise here. I mean, I didn't think I was going to see him. I'm sure you didn't think you were going to see him, MF. So
no, he wasn't even listed on any of the previews. So no, this was a pleasant
welcome surprise. Yeah, very welcome surprise.
Yeah.
So segment of the night for me. So MF, like I said, we all know how damn good Adam Cole is at the heel, but question is, how good can he be as a babyface? Let's find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. So next up we had was a tag team fight, as it was Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Hook. They went up against Big Bill and Lee Moriarty, and it was Jungle Boy and Hook winning the match in 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Anthony, it's yours.
I'd say by default, this was the worst fight of the night. 2.5, 2 3/4. An inoffensive match. This was really about the one spot, and it delivered. With Big Bill bumping huge for Hook, then selling the shock and awe of it with his facial expressions. This will probably be revisited, or at least the Hook Jungle Boy team will be. But it would hardly be a bad thing if it was one and done, as neither man really needs to be part of a thrown together tandem at this point. The pop for the hot tag, the Hook, was reflective of how popular that young man is and the effectiveness of his presentation. And then Hook T-bone suplex the hell out of Big Bill to a massive ovation. I mean, that was the spot of the match right there. So, like I said, by default, this was the worst fight of the night, but not remotely bad. 2.5, 2 3/4 of a star for me. So MF, your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, not a bad match. 2.5 stars. I'll give you that. I thought it could have been a lot more better, but for what it was worth, it was fine. It was fine. Really nothing bad to say. So next up that we had here on the actual fight card, well, after MJF kind of berated everybody in the arena, it was Bryan Danielson versus Konosuke uh, uh,
Takeshita.
Teshkara. Sorry. So when it was all said and done, the winner of the bout in roughly 17 minutes was none other than Bryan Danielson. He won the match. So yeah, really nothing more to say here. And great matchup. Easily you could make an argument for fight of the night honors. This was another, man, I want to say this was easily like 4 stars. So I really got nothing more to say. And Anthony, I'll give it to you. I thought this was almost fight of the night honors, and lo and behold, look who it is. It's none other than my good buddy Bryan Danielson.
Surprised by that? No.
Not really, no.
He's only one of the best wrestlers in the world, if not the best wrestler in the world right now. I mean, come on. All right. Let me see. All right. It's beforehand, MJF cut a promo, doing his usual stuff, which was money as usual, because we all know how damn good he is on the mic, whether you like him or you don't. What ensued here with Bryan and Takeshita was a brilliant wrestling match that simultaneously put over the intensity and motivation of the prospective #1 contender and the tenacity and resiliency of his young opponent in Takeshita. The American Dragon shook off what appeared to be a potentially serious knee injury to stomp away at Takeshita, and then he submitted him to the Regal stretch, a nice ode to his mentor, William Regal, and a man at the center of his feud with MJF. The expectations for this bout were lofty based on the quality of Danielson and Takeshita's work, and they absolutely lived up to them. This was hard-hitting, featured some great sequences and reversals en route to the finish that saw the right guy go over, but not without effectively establishing his opponent as a star of the future. Knee breakout star. That's another one we need to keep an eye on for our potential breakout run, Takeshita. If Danielson is going to be consistently producing banger after banger after banger like this, the road to his showdown with MJF for Revolution in March is going to be a very rewarding one for the AEW faithful. And boy, oh boy, all those things MJF said, oh my gosh. I mean, he said, and I thought Danielson was a bad public speaker after Takeshita responded to MJF in Japanese. And he said, laugh all you want, LA, but that still doesn't change that you're a bunch of nerds. He also insulted Masked Singer judge Ken Jeong, who was there, Dr. Ken, if you will, as well as Ken Jeong's good buddy, Freddie Prinze Jr., because we all remember, actually, that was another guy, I'm sorry. But Freddie Prinze Jr., both of whom were seated at ringside. And then MJF called, you heard what he called him, Scooby-Dooby Doo, the routine. So not even going to go that far. And then Takeshita rocked Danielson with a top rope lariat. A nasty botch at ringside resulted in an ugly bump in which Danielson's leg became trapped under Takeshita. It clearly affected the prospective number one contender who struggled to put weight on the joint. And then the crowd popped for Takeshita making it to the ropes, proof of the connection he has forged with the audience early in his career. So 4 to 4.25 stars. This was you could most certainly make an argument for fight of the night. I wouldn't be mad at you. MF wouldn't be mad at you. So I'm sure if Bullock was here, he wouldn't be mad at it either. So 4 to 4.25 stars. And MF, 1 down, 4 to go for Bryan Danielson. He needs to win 4 more matches. Because remember, MJF said you got to win every match starting tonight up until February the 8th. And if you do that, then you can have your Iron Man title match with me at Revolution. But next week, MF, he's going up against someone that you know very well, Bandito. Yikes.
Yeah, and he's not that's a tough challenger, man.
Here comes a banger.
They're not giving Danielson any cupcakes, man. Bandito he's tough. He's gonna be some problems in that one, so no doubt about it. So next up we had was a tag team fight, as it was Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker going up against Saraya and Toni Storm, the Good Doctor, and Jamie Hayter wins the match 11 minutes and 20 seconds. Hikaru Shida made an oopsie throwing the kendo stick in the ring, right where both ladies were down, intercepted by Dr. Britt Baker, and she did not hesitate. Wham! Right to the back of Toni Storm. That led to Jamie Hayter putting the finishing touches on the match. 1, 2, 3. Fight over. Anthony Florio. Oh, hard match to lose if you're Toni Storm. But what was the purpose of Hikaru Shida? Why?
Well, I think AEW might be maybe planting the seeds for a possible heel turn for Shida.
Yeah. Even though she looked like she like, oops, like, I didn't mean that. I don't know, man. Did you see the way she threw that kendo stick?
It was nowhere near Toni Storm. It was more near
Jamie Hayter. Absolutely.
Heel turn. Heel turn's coming.
Yeah.
Maybe not tonight, but soon enough, there will be a heel turn. Trust me. And let me tell you, if they pull that off, can you imagine Shida as a monster badass heel? Whoa. I'm going to like that. I think a heel turn could do wonders for Shida. I really do. And I can't wait to see it if it's true. But, all right. The only disappointment here, MF, I think you can agree with me on this. There were so many people expecting Mercedes Moné to show up tonight.
Yep.
The former Sasha Banks. To make her AEW debut, that it hung over this match like a dark cloud. However, the crowd was red hot for Jamie Hayter, but the reaction to the match and the hard work of the women involved was hurt by the anticipation for a moment that never came. It is a shame because the story of Hikaru Shida being so determined to help her friends and prove her value to Saraya, only to accidentally lead to her defeat, was really well done and will only lead to a full-fledged heel turn for the former AEW Women's Champion down the line. To be honest, this didn't need Mercedes because everyone here put on their work boots and delivered a really solid match, enhanced by the storytelling. So I will give this 3.25, teetering on 3.5 for the effort. Toni Storm applied the Texas Cloverleaf to Britt Baker, but Jamie Hayter rocked her with a kick to the face, and then Storm and Hayter exchanged forearms to the face, with Excalibur recalling that it was similar to the barrage of strikes that fractured Storm's face during their epic title match at Full Gear in November. So this was 3.25 to 3.5 for the effort, and I mean, MF, it was a very good match between 4 very good workers. But let's be realistic. That crowd, they were wanting/expecting Mercedes Moné. They were ready to deliver another IWC pop like the one Adam Cole got earlier in the night. And trust me, if Mercedes had shown up, that would have been it. It would have been over. But But it doesn't matter. Still a very good match. 3 1/4, 3.5 by MF. Imagine what would have happened if Mercedes had shown up. Oh boy.
Unfortunately, it took the life out of the AEW crowd. The fans wanted to see Mercedes there. And the thing was, the rumors were that she has signed with AEW. And this would have been the perfect debut for Mercedes Moné to come into that show, that event, and like you said, they were treating it like a pay-per-view level type event. So this was their biggest event of the year, and for them not to do it that way, I mean, I gotta say, I'm really upset about the way that the body of work came down. So there was really nothing more to say here. So I don't think there's anything more to say right there. I just think it was just, a little bit of a raw deal more than anything else. But, it is what it is. Mercedes and, if Mercedes would have debuted, it would have been a great debut more than anything else. But at the end of the day, it was one of those where you just don't know. But at the end, it's just, it is what it is. It was a great match. It was a good main event. So it was basically, so it is what it is. And, but at the end of the day, solid match, good battle. I kind of feel like, this is one of the rare times, and I'll even say it. This is one of those rare times where literally Tony Khan actually does not deliver. Now, the rumor was that Mercedes had signed with AEW and that she was going to join All Elite and that this was going to be the week. And all the dirt sheets were saying it. Every dirt sheet was saying that this was going to happen. Well, guess what? The dirt sheets got it wrong. They got it completely wrong this time around, and Mercedes hasn't. She is with New Japan. She is with Stardom. She is supposedly wrestling Kairi Sane February 8th in San Jose, California. Battle at the Valley for the New Japan Pro Wrestling Women's World Title. The IWGP Women's Championship is on the line. Maybe she joins after that, but I don't know. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So yeah, nothing more to say there. It does lead us to the main. Is this the main event? Yeah, main event of the evening, the 7th and final match in the trios tag team title event. In a ladder match, as it was the Death Triangle versus the Elite. Winners of the bout, 14 minutes and 45 seconds, winning the best of 7 series, and the new AEW Trios champions, the Elite, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega. Predictable outcome. Good match, good ending. But it was a predictable outcome, to say the very least. I got nothing more to say here. Yeah. So at the end of it, I got to say this was easily 4 stars. Again, great matchup. Nothing more to add. And yeah, I'm done with it. So Anthony, new champions, history made in Inglewood tonight.
And another disappointment. No tripod confetti? Come on, AEW. What's the matter with you? No tripod confetti for that? Come on. But all kidding aside. All right. The spots were extraordinary. Displays of incredible athleticism and creativity. There is no denying the work and risk that went into executing them to the precision that they did. Still, this felt more of the same as what we had seen throughout the entire series. An abundance of frenetically paced spots, some overacting by one participant in particular, typical dazzling offense from the Young Bucks, and even better stuff from the underrated Pac. The team we all expected to win did, and all is right with the world of AEW, or something like that. Who the Elite moves on to feud with next remains to be seen, but it'll probably be someone like House of Black, who can at least afford to be landing pads for Omega and the Bucks as they attempt to establish themselves as the greatest trio of all time. A great match? Probably, but it is time to retire this matchup and for the Elite to switch things up with something more than the chaotic party-style tag matches they have perfected. But other than that, this was another great match. 4 stars. I agree with with it. I feel like it was kind of pressed for time a little bit, especially with that waste of a segment beforehand. I mean, you could have put the time from that segment into this match, and we probably would have been talking Fight of the Night honors here. From the very beginning of the match, the crowd was very much into Death Triangle, a reaction the company may not have expected, as the Elite was almost certainly expected to be the favorite. A lot of highlights here. Ray Phoenix set Nick Jackson off the top rope with a Hurricane Rana and legs first into a ladder, drawing ooze from the crowd. That was a cringe-worthy spot. I saw that. Yeesh. Matt Jackson's rolling Northern Lights suplexes culminated with one onto a ladder. Nick delivered a 450 splash from the top turnbuckle to Penta at ringside and through a table. Alex Abrahantes knocked over a ladder, taking Matt off it. Brandon Cutler hits the ring and sprayed his eyes with cold spray, taking him out of the equation. Penta delivered a Fear Factor on Matt on a ladder. And then Kenny Omega delivered a one-winged angel off the ladder to Ray Phoenix. Pac followed with a 450 splash, but Omega got the knees up. Great matchup here. 4 stars, no doubt about it. Certainly make an argument for 4.25 as well. 3 banger matches on this show here tonight. So there isn't really much more for me to say on this. So overall review, or Matt, did you give your thoughts on this yet?
No, I gave my thoughts. I was the one that led off, so yeah, it's all on you.
All right. So overall here, 8.5. I think that's the correct rating for this. When it comes, I mean, the only things on here that were remotely bad was that Jericho Appreciation Society, Ricky Starks, and Action Andretti segment. That wasn't really all that good. That was a mess of a segment. Of course, that tag team match with Hook and Jungle Boy, it kind of felt like a Rampage style of a match. If I'm going to be honest with you, something you would see on a Rampage or any of the other shows for that matter, even though it wasn't remotely bad. Of course, the biggest disappointment of the night, the Mercedes Moné not being there. I mean, if she had showed up, that would have put this over the top. Those were the only downers of the show tonight, but everything else was solid to good to great. I mean, Bryan and Takeshita, that was the fight of the night. That was a great technical style wrestling match. You know how much I love that. Hangman and Moxley, be a man fight as we all expected. And then, of course, the Escalera de la Muerte, the ladder match with the Young Bucks, I should say the Elite and Death Triangle for the trios belts. The typical party style X Division type match we've come to expect from these 3. And we saw it 7 times, but they all delivered in spades. And then a solid women's match, solid women's tag match. MJF delivered on the mic again, and then of course the surprise return of Adam Cole, and yeah, so hot crowd in the forum tonight. They brought it, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with this going forward. So yeah, AEW, we all knew AEW was going to put on a banger of a show, regardless of the quote unquote news that broke about 24 hours ago or so, which for the moment, thankfully, is not true. But let's hope and pray that's still the case. But if we get a happy ending with this, like we had in the NFL, you know where I'm going with that. So there isn't really much more for me to add on this. So 8.5. But MF, I'll say it like this: if Mercedes had shown up, it would have been a lot higher.
This is about an 8. I don't think there's really much more to say about it. It was, like you said, this show could have been epic. It could have been amazing, but it is what it is. I mean, the show itself was pretty good, so I'm not gonna say much more than what we got, and we're out of here. So tomorrow night is the big one. We first off we got to talk about the national championship game, but we're probably gonna touch that just a little bit because there's really not much to talk about there. But then after that, we're definitely gonna get into it because it is going to be the big one. Super wild card weekend in the National Football League. We're going to go through all the matchups to get you ready for the incredible week that we got coming up. And with that said, 10:30 Eastern, hosted by Anthony Floyer on his channel. So until then, for Anthony Floyer, I'm Michael Fletcher. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Goodbye.